Welcome to Speak English Podcast with Rory and Alex.
Have you ever had one of those mornings? You open your eyes, you think about a big goal, maybe learning a new language or trying to stick to a new routine, and your brain just sends you this automated resignation letter?
Oh, absolutely. Nope. I resign. I quit. Good luck. Bye.
Exactly.
It's that moment you hit a wall, especially with long-term goals. The initial excitement is gone, and you're just left with the sheer difficulty of the middle part.
That feeling of just wanting to throw the whole project into the trash because this one week felt impossible. So today, we are diving deep into that exact feeling. We're going to pull apart the difference between a goal that's, fundamentally unwinnable and one that's just asking more of you than you thought.
And we've taken a whole stack of sources to do it. Everything from the historical language we use to talk about conflict, all the way to Carol Dweck's breakthrough research on mindsets, and even some hyper-practical micro-strategies.
Right, to give you the internal tools you need to build real, sustainable resilience.
Yeah, our mission is to help you distinguish between those external challenges, which, often feel like a battle, and the powerful internal strategies you need.
We want to help you figure out how to stay the course when everything inside you is just screaming to stop.
Exactly. So let's start by actually defining the struggle. The English language has given us this really fascinating vocabulary for it, all rooted in military conflict.
Okay, let's unpack that because I think choosing the right word really matters here. When we feel like quitting, it's often because we've convinced ourselves that we are fighting a losing battle.
And that phrase has deep roots, used figuratively since the early 1600s. It means you are trying to do something that is, predetermined to fail.
The outcome is fixed.
It's fixed. The example in our sources is perfect. Trying to scoop water out of a rapidly flooding basement. The water's just coming in way faster than you can get it out.
Or, say, trying to build a career in a dying industry with no way to pivot.
In those cases, yeah, the fight might actually be unwinnable.
But, and this is the crucial part, most of the challenges that make us want to quit aren't losing battles at all. They're what the sources call an uphill battle.
And that distinction is it's so critical. An uphill battle is challenging from the very first step. It stays hard, but it is not impossible.
I like the visual, just walking up a very, very steep hill.
Exactly. It takes intense effort, consistent work, but if you just keep moving, you will get to the top. The difficulty is the point, not something that should stop you.
Right, so like a student for whom math just doesn't come naturally. Getting an A is an uphill battle for sure, but with the right study habits and strategies, it's achievable.
It's about grit, not genius. And once you accept that the fight is just uphill, then you can start getting strategic. Which brings us to those management idioms, like choose your battles.
I think this is a huge sticking point for a lot of people, though. How do you know if you're choosing your battles or just giving up on the necessary hard stuff? It feels like a very thin line.
It does. But strategy is about deciding where to spend your finite resources, your time, your energy. It's prioritization. A manager might let a small error slide to focus all their energy on a huge supply chain problem.
You go for the big win.
You go for the big win and accept that not every tiny detail needs your full attention.
That helps. Okay, then there's half the battle.
The common version is knowing is half the battle. Knowledge is power. But practically, showing up to the gym at 6 a.m. is half the battle.
Right. If you can just get your shoes on and walk through the door.
The rest kind of follows. You identify the single hardest step, and you give yourself 50% of the credit just for doing that.
And finally, we have a running battle.
Which is that prolonged, unresolved conflict, like two neighbors fighting over who cuts the grass. It's ongoing. It needs management, not a single victory.
So once we figure out our struggle is simply uphill, the question really shifts from what we're fighting to how we're fighting.
Exactly. And the outcome of that uphill battle depends almost entirely on what you believe about your own potential. And this brings us to the psychology of the fighter. We have to talk about Carol Dweck's research on the two mindsets, fixed and growth.
Okay, let's start with the one that holds us back, the fixed mindset. What is that and why is it so damaging?
The fixed mindset is this core belief that your qualities, your intelligence, your talent, your personality are permanent. They're unchangeable.
Carved in stone.
Carved in stone, as Dweck says. And if you believe that, your main goal in life becomes just proving that fixed ability over and over again.
And I imagine the internal monologue is just terrifying.
It is. Every single situation becomes an evaluation. Will I succeed or fail? Will I look smart or dumb? If failure proves your ability is lacking, then you desperately, desperately fear failure.
So you just run from difficulty.
You run from it. You avoid criticism. You stop trying as soon as it gets hard. You retreat because you see a mistake not as information, but as a judgment on who you are. I am a fraud.
The alternative then, and really the key to all of this, is the growth mindset.
This is the belief that your basic qualities can be cultivated. You can improve them through dedication, through effort. That passion for stretching yourself and sticking with something, especially when it's not going well, that's the hallmark of the growth mindset.
Setbacks aren't an indictment. They're just data.
Exactly. They're data points on the path. Which brings us to the most critical difference Dweck found, and it comes down to a single word. Yet.
The power of yet.
It's everything. In the growth mindset, failure doesn't define you. It's just a problem to be faced. She gave this amazing example of a high school in Chicago where students who failed a class weren't given an F. They were given the grade, not yet.
Wow, that changes the entire conversation, doesn't it? An F feels final. I failed. I'm nowhere.
But not yet tells you you're on a learning curve. It gives you a path into the future. It shows you that the skill is attainable. You haven't finished getting there.
It shifts the focus from where you are now to what your future effort can achieve.
And to build that, Dweck's research is crystal clear. Praising intelligence or talent, it has failed spectacularly.
We need to praise the process. But my instinct is always to say, great job, you got an A. Or, wow, you're so talented at this. How does praising the process actually work?
You focus on the effort, the strategies they used. Instead of the A, you praise their decision to study for 2 extra hours, or the clever way they approached the problem, their focus.
So if you praise talent and they fail,
they think their talent ran out. But if you praise the process and they fail, they just think, okay, my strategy was wrong, or I need to put in more effort. They just adjust the process.
So successful people aren't just naturally talented. They've developed a talent for converting struggles into fuel.
Precisely. That resilience born from the growth mindset is what separates those who try from those who achieve.
Okay, so we got the right mindset. But what happens when you apply all that effort and the progress meter just seems stuck? This is the plateau. In language learning, they call it the language learning plateau.
And it is completely normal. It usually hits when you're moving from that intermediate B1 level towards advanced mastery.
And how do you know you're there?
You feel like you're just repeating the same few hundred words over and over, or you have to work twice as hard for the tiniest bit of improvement. It's so discouraging.
And the science explains why. It's largely psychological. Experts like Anders Ericsson found that it takes about 50 hours to get basic proficiency in a skill. After that, we fall into autopilot.
We settle into our comfort zone. Our brains are designed for efficiency, so they naturally avoid the mental discomfort that you need for improvement.
Which is the great irony. People quit right when the work actually needs to get difficult.
So how do you fight that? The answer isn't always work harder for longer. It's a strategy that removes that all-or-nothing pressure. It's microlearning.
Microlearning, so short bursts.
Short bursts, 10 minutes here, 7 minutes there, of really intentional, focused practice. It proves you don't need these huge blocks of time.
The goal is momentum, not marathons.
Exactly. It removes the guilt. A short effort is always better than no effort.
So what does that actually look like, day to day?
It could be a morning vocab review with sticky notes on your mirror. Or if you're writing, just force yourself to write a single sentence in your journal, or 1 paragraph of that difficult report.
We're using those boring bits of the day.
Yes. Waiting in line, on the bus. Use that time for flashcard reviews. Those little moments add up so much over a week.
Let's get into the brain science for a second, because understanding why these small steps work is key.
Absolutely. It's based on 3 pillars. First, spaced repetition. This is a system that reminds you of information right before you're about to forget it.
So you're not cramming, you're interrupting the forgetting process.
Right at the optimum moment. It saves so much time. Second is chunking.
So subgrouping information together.
Instead of memorizing 5 separate Italian words to order food, you learn the whole phrase, vorrei comprare questo per favore, as 1 single chunk. Your brain only has to retrieve 1 thing, not 5. It's a huge confidence booster.
And the third one is active recall. This is crucial.
It is. This is trying to remember information without looking at the answer. You're quizzing yourself.
And it feels hard.
It feels very hard. That struggle to pull the information from your memory is what builds stronger, permanent connections in your brain. It's productive discomfort.
But none of this works if you're just waiting for motivation to strike.
Motivation is an emotion. It comes and goes. We need discipline, which is an action. You have to find a super strong why, a real purpose, and then rely on structure, like the 5-minute rule.
Ah, the trick where you tell yourself you'll only do something for 5 minutes.
Because starting is always the hardest part. The brain anticipates the pain of the whole task, but 5 minutes, that's an acceptable cost. You trip yourself past that first hurdle, and often you just keep going.
So we have the psychology, we have the microstrategies. Let's talk about building the foundation for all of it. Resilience.
Resilience is the ability to adapt to difficult situations without feeling like it's all too much. And this is vital. Resilient people still feel stress and pain. They've just learned what to do with those feelings. They aren't born with it, they build it.
Which brings us to a simple but really powerful rule. Don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you're done.
It's such a great mantra. Think about finishing a big report at work. It's 6 p.m., you're exhausted, the sofa is calling your name.
If you stop when you're tired, you wake up to a headache and that unfinished work hanging over you.
But if you push through for that extra 45 minutes and finish it, you're still tired, but you're also proud. The rest you get is a reward. That momentum makes all the difference for the next day.
So how do we build that muscle? The sources give 3 tips. Number 1, be aware of your reactions.
We create these huge stories around negative events. Let's say a colleague, Stella, disagrees with your idea in a meeting. Your brain might immediately spin a story. She hates me. She thinks I'm incompetent.
And that story feels so real.
It feels like reality, and it causes real pain. But mindfulness helps you step back and see that your story is just one possible interpretation. Maybe Stella just had a different perspective. Realizing that makes the situation instantly less painful.
Okay. Step 2, use writing techniques.
To face your thoughts honestly, try expressive writing. Set a timer for 20 minutes and just write freely about an issue, no editing, get it all out on paper. You can also try listing the positive aspects of a tough situation, like Stella's comments forced me to make my idea stronger.
That reframing is so powerful. And the 3rd step, be kind to yourself. Don't fight alone.
Yes, forgive yourself for mistakes. They are inevitable in an uphill battle. Analyze the error, adjust, and move on. And critically, seek support. Share what you're going through. It makes you feel less alone and can offer new perspectives.
And don't forget your physical health. Sleep, exercise, food. They all directly impact your ability to handle stress.
They absolutely do.
The final point here on strategy is that perseverance doesn't mean blindly sticking to a plan that isn't working. It means being willing to change your method while staying loyal to the deeper dream.
As the polyglot Steve Kaufman says, you have to do things you enjoy, but you must stay the course. Be consistent. Be resilient. You will get through the plateau. Your goal isn't to be fast or perfect. It's just to be consistent.
So what does this all mean for you, the person facing that uphill fight? The core transformation is moving from a fixed mindset, where failure is a final judgment, to a growth mindset, where a setback is just a signpost marked not yet.
And the outcome of embracing that struggle is profound. Dweck's research found the #1 ingredient in creative achievement isn't genius. It's the perseverance and resilience produced by the growth mindset. It's the ability to keep coming back again and again with a better strategy.
So remember this. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to change direction. But you don't have to throw your dream away just because the path got steep.
So think about this today. What goal have you maybe decided is a losing battle that you could reframe as an uphill battle and just add the word yet to? And find one small action today where you will praise your process, your effort, your focus, instead of waiting for a perfect result. That small change in thinking is truly half the battle won.